Hello and welcome to the final video of MSI 2022's coverage. We're going to look back at the most common champion matchups on what would be patch, I believe, 12.8. I should probably double check if it's 12.8 or 12.9. But I've done this for every patch throughout spring. I did a cumulative video before MSI where I look at the patches and try and, determine what the meta is for a patch and how it progresses over time, how those matchups went within a vacuum. Of course, obviously, different players and different teams will change how a matchup goes, but I like to think that over 10 matchups, we have a decent idea to know, if something's a coin flip or if it's, pretty one-sided. And then, before a patch hits the pro leagues, I will do a video on that patch to see which players may benefit most from a patch. If, for instance, Zaya is buffed, well, which 80 carries generally like to play Zaya? Oh, well, those 80 carries are going to be the ones that are happy about it. Oh, Aphelios is nerfed. Those players like playing Aphelios. Those players are hurt by this. That's the sort of stuff I do. I will be doing a video for 12.9. I don't think I'm going to do a video for whatever the durability patch has kind of screwed everything up. So maybe I'm going to look at win rates for the beginning of the split to determine what's good and what's not, and then go from there with each patch like I just explained. So most common champion matchups for MSI. That's why you're here. We had one matchup reach 10 matches in the top lane. 28 different champions were picked to play top lane during MSI. Gwen, obviously the most common pick versus Gangplank. She was first pick or ban. And it was a draw. It was 50-50. By the end of it, it was 50-50. We saw Bin and Zayas, duke it out once, I think. Broken Blade and Zayas did it. But we saw Gwen a lot. Gwen versus Jax was the second most common matchup, happening 5 times. Maybe Kennen played somebody 5 times as well. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Everything else was kind of like 1-offs, 2-offs. Vlad was picked into Gwen a couple times. Jace was. I'm filming this after the finals. Jace was picked into it twice today, and had been picked into it before that once. But Gwen was queen of the castle on top. Jungle, Viego was the popular pick despite it being weak. Early on, it seemed to be the hot pick with Graves and things like that, but Graves dropped out, and Viego just started losing to Lee Sin and Wukong. Wukong became first pick or ban. There were 18 different junglers picked during MSI. Lee Sin won 8 of the 12 matchups between Viego and Lee Sin, and Wukong won 7 of the 10 matchups against Viego. So Viego struggled big time on this patch in the end. I remember them mentioning it actually today in the video, in the broadcast. It was like 15 out of 46 games, like 15 and 31 or something. Viego really struggled. Mid lane, Ahri. Ahri was, going into this tournament, Ahri was starting to become popular. And Ahri was. And then we saw it took till the end of MSI to finally figure out a counter that people were comfortable playing into the Ahri, which was the Lissandra going 5 for 5. Lissandra not losing to Ahri at all during MSI. There were 26 different mids picked. LeBlanc was the most... excuse me. So, LeBlanc was the most common pick into Ahri 10 times. LeBlanc would win that 6-4. So people might have thought, oh, well, Ahri actually was losing to LeBlanc. And now Ahri and Vex was a common matchup too, 9 times, where I believe Vex lost heavily, 2-7. But, I don't have it written there because it didn't happen 10 times. I guess it's kind of, it happened 9 times. What's the difference? Well, I like to try and stay consistent. Double digits is the line. So Ahri, big pick. We saw some Galio. We saw some TF. TF dropped out. Silas dropped out. And at the end, it was LeBlanc, Ahri. That was pretty much it. You take one side, I take the other. You want to pick something into it, go ahead. It was Lissandra, like I said, in the end. But, there are 26 different mids picked. Bot lane, a lot of bot laners. I'm surprised that there are as many bot laners as supports, 21 each. Bot lane's usually more handshaky, and it wasn't. Kesa and Ezreal were the handshake during Rumble stage and group stage. Dropped off towards the end. Kesa being banned against Gala, and Ezreal being banned against Gala as well, as Gala began to dominate in the bot lane. Excuse me. 12 times Kesa and Ezreal played against each other. Kesa winning 9 of the 12 games, Kesa being the counter. Kalista versus Tristana was the pick during group stage. Very common pick. In the beginning, a lot of people were picking Kalista. That was the meta at first. Then it would drop out. The only person really picking Kalista or getting it banned against him was Guma after a group stage. And it's funny because Tristana in the end ended up being a pick. Obviously, it went in mid with Faker, but Gala also used it today, I believe, in the finals as well, if I recall correctly. So it was a pick until the bitter end, and I'm surprised during that middle stage, the Rumble stage, it didn't continue being a pick. Instead, people were willing to handshake Kesa and Ezreal. Support, the true handshake continues, Nautilus Leona. That was a handshake all split long, and it continued to be. We saw Nautilus getting banned towards the end a bit. But Nautilus Leona happened 13 times, the most common matchup at MSI. Nautilus winning 62% of the time, which I think might be 8 times. I think 8 to 5 maybe. Leona was not a pick. Was not a thing. Nautilus was. And then after that, it was Nautilus versus Renata 5 times. So after Nautilus Leona, everybody else was just picking whatever. We saw some Braum, we saw some Rakan, Tom Kench, Karma. We saw Morgana and Yumi today. But mostly it was Nautilus and what you want to pick into it. Did you want to pick a tank? Well, go TK, go Braum. Do you want a little bit of both? Go Rakan. Do you want an Enchanter? Well, go this or that. So, Enchanter not so much. But, we had a pretty set in stone meta at MSI. Comment down below which matchup interested you most. Are there any win rates that surprise you? What do you think might stick around going into summer? If you're playing League right now, I don't really have time to play League. Because I'm just pounding out videos. And I don't play very much to begin with because I pound out videos. But what of these champions are going to drop out of the meta based on how the durability patch is looking? What champions do you think are being buffed by it that are listed here? Just kind of... comment down below if you have an opinion. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel. Now my MSI coverage is done. I'm going to continue my LPL summer split previews. Doing my LCK ones today. Filming them. Going to make sure they're not on a playlist so people can't see them early. I don't know when the LCK is going to start their summer split yet. So I'm going to just start popping out those videos. I know when the LEC and LCS do. So those videos I know when I have to start popping them out. And I'm also going to be doing smaller region videos, just one video for each minor region, going over like power ranking the 10 teams in the region and maybe giving you like the top 3 in each role and what stats look nice, which ones don't. Because I don't watch the smaller regions, so I don't know as much about them as I do the major regions. I will be watching. My goal is to watch every major region game again throughout summer. I do my League of Legends roundups like I did for MSI. If you enjoyed that sort of content, it will be going on for the LPL, LCK, LEC, and LCS. Sometimes the LEC, LCS videos, especially LCS videos, come out the morning after whenever the video is done processing because I need to edit the video, let it start processing, get some sleep before LPL starts or LCK starts in the morning. But I do try and watch all the games. I believe I watch like 90% of them for spring. So if you stay tuned for all this, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back for more content.